It is all good. Hi, middle-aged gamers. Welcome back. We're a little bit late today. We got a bit sidetracked talking about things that are happening in the world. Um, Lots happening as usual. So on Adam's side of the show, he's going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to Switch, Fatal Frame 2, Endless Legend 2 early access next week, which is exciting because Adam played the first one. I have yet to play the first one, so I might even skip that. On my side of the show, I'm going to be talking about the game Shape of Dreams, which is released this week. Think of it of like Hades, kind of like Hollow Knight in a sense, and a bit of a MOBA mixed between. We also got a bit more details about 007 First Light, especially some of the mechanics, and we're focusing on that. If you'd like to watch, the game trailer is available on the IO Interactive website, and they talk about the gameplay in like 30 minutes or so. It's actually pretty cool. And as always, at the end of the show, if you want to stay around for some philosophical musings and discussions, Adam's going to be talking about life lessons he's learned from gaming and something to do with Elden Ring, which I forgot what the topic was, but Adam can tell me.
The topic was Elden Ring saw Souls games go mainstream. What game did the same for others?
Yes. See, because the problem is, I just wrote the short title in our Google Calendar where I know like where our content goes, and I'm like, I don't want to write that long thing in there. That just takes too much time. So I wrote like Elden Ring short. That's as much as I know,
Just
which is
copied and
bad.
pasted the entire picture from.
I should have just done that actually. But tell us, Final Fantasy VII finally coming to Switch 2, despite I've seen stories about Switch 2 performance issues for other titles.
Yeah, I don't know if this one will do it or not, because this is Final Fantasy VII Integrate, which is kind of complicated. So Final Fantasy VII Remake obviously came to the PS4. Switch 2 is probably closer to the PS4. Was it between the PS4 and the PS5, right? So it's actually more powerful than the PS4, I believe. However, this is Integrate, which is the PS5 version of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, because it adds the Integrate DLC. So yeah, so this is the PS5 version. This is the same game that we had on the PS5, or the same version that we had on the PS5. But yeah, we'll see how well it runs. I don't know how well it's going to run or not. But it is coming to Switch 2. Strangely enough, I should know this. I'm not quite sure when. I forgot to check the date on that, so we'll have to double check. Now, some things about this. First of all, it is going to be sold as a key card, which has been pretty controversial right now. A lot of people feel that if you're going to sell me the little card, the game should be on the card, but instead Nintendo has been selling these key cards. They're saying it's good for the industry, and they're saying it's good for preservation and that sort of thing. Other people are arguing it has nothing to do with preservation whatsoever, because if the game goes off servers, then it doesn't matter if you have a key or not, because there's no door. Yeah, anyway, beyond that, if you do get the game, it is going to be coming with a Magic the Gathering booster pack. So Final Fantasy recently did a collab with Magic the Gathering. So you will be getting a booster pack for that game if you buy the Switch version of Final Fantasy VII Integrate. It's going to come with 14 random cards from the Final Fantasy VII crossover. Obviously, they're not going to be random Magic cards. They are all going to be Final Fantasy related. Sorry, they will all be Final Fantasy VII related, or maybe Final Fantasy related. That's a good question. Because it was a Final Fantasy in general crossover. So yeah, I don't know if those cards are going to be all Final Fantasy VII related or just Final Fantasy related. That's a good question. I haven't seen anything on that. I would assume it's probably just anything Final Fantasy. So you might not actually end up getting anything Final Fantasy VII related, but maybe, I don't know, maybe they pack it entirely with Final Fantasy VII cards. That would be interesting to find out. Now, if you get it digital, the pre-orders are going to include the original Final Fantasy VII. So you can get that, and that's actually pretty cool. They are also going to be adding a new feature that was added into the newer versions of that, which we'll get into in a little bit. If you do get the game, it's going to include the base game, obviously, Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is the first one, not the second one, not Rebirth. That one I'm sure will come eventually, but not yet. This is the original Final Fantasy VII Remake, okay? It's going to come with the base game. It's going to come with the Integrate DLC. That's the Yuffie DLC, which is actually pretty good. So yeah, definitely look forward to that. And it's also going to come with some special items. For instance, if you got like the digital deluxe version, then you get like some special materia or something like that. And this one, for example, you'll be getting the Carbuncle materia, so you can summon Carbuncle in game. Obviously not as good as some of the late game materia, but still good to have early game. especially when you don't have that many summons, because you might only have one, so only one person can use it. Now you'd have two, so two people could use it. So definitely very helpful. It's also going to be coming with a new mode, which is what I mentioned with the original Final Fantasy VII. So in the original Final Fantasy VII, when it came out again on like PlayStation 4, I'm not sure if the PlayStation 3 had it, but the PlayStation 4 version, I think the Xbox version, not sure which Nintendo that would have been, maybe the Switch or maybe the Wii or the Wii U, not quite sure. But that version had a mode which you could turn on and it would just constantly regenerate your health, constantly regenerate your MP, and it would constantly regenerate your limit break bar. So you have unlimited limit breaks, unlimited magic, and unlimited life. And with this new version of Final Fantasy VII Intergrade for the Switch, they are adding that mode into Final Fantasy VII Intergrade. It is called Streamline Progression. It is going to make you invincible, so you cannot die. It's going to give you unlimited MP, ATB, and your limit break. So your limit break is like this big attack that you build up to, and then you can release it when you want to. MP is just your magic points, so you have unlimited magic, cast as much as you want. And ATB is actually really, really important because in the older Final Fantasy games, ATB would stand for Active Time Combat. So there's always a debate whether it's turn-based or not. But basically what happens is each character has their own speed, and your speed would determine how quickly a bar fills. When that bar fills, that's when you can act. So instead of like a traditional game where like I have a turn and I select a move for all my characters, and you select a move for all your characters, and then it moves to the next turn, I select a move for all my characters, you select a move for all your characters. Instead of that, you just have a character's bar charges, and when it charges, they can fill it. So if you have a faster character, my character might actually be able to attack twice in the time it takes your character to attack once. So speed becomes, it's basically turn-based, but we're adding speed as a factor that doesn't just determine where you go in turn order, but how often you take turn. So in Final Fantasy VII Remake, they've changed this where it slowly, very slowly builds up. But every time you attack an enemy, or if you defend against certain attacks or that sort of thing, you'll get a little boost to it, so you can charge it up. So the more aggressive you are, if you're attacking like manually, just basic attack, you're going to build up your ATB relatively quickly. And then you can spend that, you have 2 bars of ATB. You can spend one to do certain things, like maybe you use 1 bar to cure, or you use 1 bar to cast fire, or you use 1 bar to do a special attack. Some attacks that are stronger might take 2 bars, so you have to charge up twice, but it's going to be a stronger attack. So anyway, if you have unlimited ATB, you can basically just use anything you want at any time. Whereas if you're playing the basic game, you kind of have to manage, you can't constantly be attacking. You have to build it up and then attack. It's relatively quick, but here it's unlimited. Whatever you want, whenever you want, no problem. So anyway, they're adding that, which is basically the idea they said is they want people who just want to focus on the story to just focus on the story. All your attacks are going to do 9999 damage. So everything's going to die in 1 hit, or at least all the small stuff should be dying in 1 hit. The bosses are going to go down really quick and you can't die. So you can just focus on the story, basically. It is unknown what is going to be included in the Xbox version. I'm sure they will probably keep this streamlined progression, but nobody knows if they're going to be offering the Magic the Gathering deal or not. If you buy physical, will you be getting those cards or not? Nobody knows that right now, or at least I don't know that. Maybe somebody does. Yeah, and just as a quick recap, Final Fantasy VII Remake, it covers the Midgar arc of Final Fantasy VII, just the very beginning. For the most part, it sticks to what Final Fantasy VII did. It does deviate in some areas. It does add some extra content, so we get a little bit more on side characters like Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse, which pretty universally welcome. But there are some changes, like Sephiroth being introduced much earlier in the game. And these don't have a huge impact on where the story goes in Remake, but they will have a very big impact on where it goes moving forward. So yeah, I don't know if you like that or not. I'm a purist. I would have preferred they stuck to the original, but it is what it is. So yeah, check it out. Final Fantasy VII Intergrade coming to Switch 2. Need to double check on the time.
And you can do that while I talk. I mean, this is exciting. I mean, not because I'm going to play this, just too much to play. I've already plotted out the rest of this year after a change of plans. But as someone who has an original Switch and I've seen a bunch of Final Fantasy games on there, I think this will be the first, and I hate to say this, quote unquote, good looking Final Fantasy game coming to the Switch, because a lot of the other Final Fantasy games on the Switch, again, in my opinion, that they're sort of much older games. And, you know, Final Fantasy VII, I mean, the re-release Intergrade, when it came out, I feel like there was a lot of, oh my God, I want to play this game. But if you had a Switch back then when it came out, you're like, oh, well, we're not getting this, so we can't play it. So I can imagine a lot of Switch people are excited. I can imagine some really hardcore Final Fantasy VII players are going to buy a Switch 2 version of this game to play it, which would be really, really cool. And on the whole cartridge thing, I totally agree with what you said. It's a really weird system. And I love the whole cartridge, because I still have my Switch 1 cartridges. And I love that idea, and I miss the days, and you'll occasionally see threads about this on Reddit of, hey, I still have my Neverwinter Nights CDs from the early 2000s, like that sort of stuff. I got rid of a lot of that stuff just because I have way too much stuff, and I was kind of moved like every 3 years or so, like a nomad, which is terrible. But I'm excited. I hope I'll eventually get to play some Final Fantasy game. Maybe it's Tactics Remastered when it comes out. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just looking at all of my old CDs that I have down here.
Yeah, you showed us before.
Yeah,
I remember.
yeah. I got Warcraft 3. I got a World of Warcraft on disc. Got Guild Wars 2,
WoW
Dishonored.
Disc.
Yeah, I got
That's
WoW.
your retirement money right there in 20 years.
Yeah, World of Warcraft on disc.
Nice.
And it's even got the price on it. It was $19.99 back in the day.
1999.
It was $19.99. It was $20.
Oh my God. Dude, that is going to go on Instagram. Send me a picture of that.
This one.
After. Yes.
World of Warcraft. This is the original World of Warcraft. Yeah, this is the original. I still have all my old CDs.
Take a picture of that.
$20.
That is going to go on our Instagram.
Yeah, which I mean, back
probably
then, $20.
not. Yeah. One of the days today. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, $20 back then was really cheap. But I mean, the idea was that
super cheap.
it was even back then. It was super cheap. But I mean, the idea was that you paid a subscription. So if they offered like a full price game and you paid a subscription, that would be a problem. But nowadays, that's not a problem. Nobody cares. Pay full price for a game and then
you pay the subscription on top of it.
And you pay the subscription and you get microtransactions.
Exactly.
Back when Blizzard was cool, right?
Exactly. Those were the days that Blizzard was cool.
Back then. Oh, but Final Fantasy VII Intergrade Switch coming out January 22nd, 2026.
Oh, so 2 years. Almost 2 years. Well, not really 2 years, but like next year. No, what am I saying? It's 2025 now.
It's like,
God.
Let's see. September, October, November, December, January. 4 months.
4 months. Yes.
4 months.
Yes. Oh God. I just realized I've totally miscalculated a few dates when I was looking at stuff the other day. Okay. So if we got it's 2025.
It is 2025. We're a quarter of the way to 2100.
Yeah. 3 months until 2026. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm saying we're a quarter of the way to 2100, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
We're going to be out of the 21st century soon. Not soon.
Yes.
Relatively soon.
Exactly. Speaking of not forgetting, so today I'm talking about a game called Shape of Dreams. So it's what if Hades and a MOBA had a co-op baby, and it actually works, and this is what Shape of Dreams is. So Shape of Dreams is really cool, and why it caught my eye is because it was trending on Steam earlier this week when it released. With Silksong that just came out 2 weeks ago, I believe it's about 2 weeks ago, and then with Hades, I would imagine their last update was in July of this year. And they're like, okay, we're going to release. And then Silksong came out like, we're releasing in September. And I think that's when Hades 2 was going to come out. I mean, it's been in early access for about more than a year. But it is coming out at the end of this month. And this is very much, I would say, Hades sparked a lot of games similar to this. Adam is like the game historian in my book, so maybe he knows better. But to me, Hades sparked this idea of roguelikes, accessible roguelikes. But I think the problem I think some people found with Hades is you're just playing the original Hades, or you're playing as Zagreus. and it's just the same guy over and over and over. And let me tell you, you die a lot in the beginning, and you get stronger and you get stronger, and eventually you sort of pass the first stage and you beat Hades and that sort of stuff. But then the other games came out. Like I played a game that was really popular on Switch, and I can't remember, another roguelike, and that game had one character, and then as you sort of beat the game, you unlocked more characters. Wonderful. But again, people hate that sort of system as well, because again, it's like sometimes the character that you start off with is usually the developer's like, okay, this character is easy. I understand. People are most likely going to be able to sort of make progress in this game with this character and unlock other characters. But that doesn't account for the way some people play. Like in me, like I'm not a dash around, slash and hack people sort of person. And I struggle with that sort of gameplay, and I would prefer like a tanky character at the beginning. And I think this is where Shape of Dreams really succeeds, is that you have 8 characters unlocked immediately for this game. And it caters to a lot of different playstyles. The dash around, hack and slash, the tanky character sort of sits in one place and bashes people and absorbs damage, that sort of stuff. There's the ranged character as well, which I thought is really cool. And you have build variety, which again, not something you'd have in a roguelike game, but something you'd have in a typical like an ARPG or like a Path of Exile 2 or a Diablo 4. So it says mix and match over 150 memories and essences, and memory is like a component of the game that gives you like those little shards that you might get in Path of Exile 2. But it looks absolutely fantastic, very colorful, very beautiful game. It's also really nice. I was looking at the system specs here. The recommended spec is like a 2 GB card or a 4 GB card, which again, most people's graphics cards in 2025 have 8 GB of RAM and up. So this is going to run on a lot of different systems. So just to summarize it here, you have 8 playable characters with unique combat mechanics and upgrade paths. Again, lots of build variety. 150 plus memories and essences to customize builds and transform abilities. So think about this as lots of different builds for your 8 individual characters to build it really specifically how you want to play the game, which is exciting. 9 lucid dreams to twist difficulty in unique ways. So think this as like stage modifiers. So as you modify the stage, you have the chance to get better loot or access to some of the abilities you don't have, or the memories as they call them in the game. 50 plus emotes and emblems to personalize your person. And again, this is more if you're going to play co-op with other people. And co-op, right? Co-op up to 4 people, but this game also allows solo player, which is awesome, because I feel like sometimes games that do co-op don't really scale down for solo play, or solo play becomes incredibly difficult that you don't want to play it anymore. 8 worlds with handcrafted bosses, monsters, and secrets. It has this cool saying at the end, the dream is waiting, become the nightmare, which I thought was really, really cool. But yeah, it is already out. It is $10 roughly on Steam, US dollars. About 335 Taiwanese dollars. It's a very positive. It came out 5 days ago, roughly about 1,069 very positive reviews. There is some sort of like really quick reflex combat in there, but again, if you're into that sort of character, yes, you can go that route. If you're not, there is the ability to play as someone more slower, as someone who takes damage more but still gets the job done, allows you to sort of play and enjoy the game itself. And just like scrolling through the reviews, I guess, it's everything else is mostly positive. I see one guy with one negative review as you scroll through Steam before you have to sort of click browse all 1,000 reviews. But I have not seen an actual YouTuber review this game yet, but definitely something for you to consider if you don't want to wait for Hades 2, which is coming out, or you're looking for just this kind of game where it's lots of replayability, lots of different characters, like honestly great value for money. But Shape of Dreams out at the moment, looks really fun, and I'd love to play it if I was not already playing Silksong and the Rebirth.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and visually, it reminds me very much of Tribes of Midgard, that kind of top-down isometric look, which, I mean, obviously a lot of games have, but the kind of cell-shadedness of it and the layout and just the angle thing kind of reminds me of Tribes of Midgard. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I dig the guy's got this little tricorn. I really always kind of like that aesthetic. Not a lot of games use it, but I always really enjoy it, and it immediately reminds me of Bloodborne. And then you said, what was it? Enter the dream, become the nightmare. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, that is 100% a Bloodborne reference. Like they are.
Is it a Bloodborne reference? I never played Bloodborne, so I don't know.
I mean, it's not like an exact quote, but if you've played Bloodborne, that's immediately probably what you're going to think of. Because, I mean, that whole thing is about the hunter's dream. Because I was like, this guy looks exactly like a hunter on this trailer here. And, you know, that's all about entering the hunter's dream and reality versus this kind of reality behind the curtain. So if you've played Bloodborne, you're probably going to see... I would be shocked if that was not an influence on this game, is all I'll say. I mean, obviously it's very different, but I would be shocked if that wasn't it.
I'm sure it is. I know, as someone who knows about Bloodborne, who's seen videos and how much people talk about it, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I would definitely have to say I'm sure that guys were. But yeah.
And speaking about references, right? We were talking about it earlier. Tell us about Endless Legend 2.
Yeah, so Endless Legend 2 is a game that I played the original Endless Legends years ago. And it was really fun, and I've always kind of wanted to go back, but, you know, it was just everything. It's just hard to get back into stuff. So this is going to be entering early access on September 22nd. And there was a demo previously in August. I believe that's over, though. I'm not sure you can still play that. In the demo, there were only 2 factions. In early access, there are going to be 4. So you're going to get an extra 2. And to get into what Endless Legends really is it's one of those 4X strategy games, similar to like Civ, you know, where you have your turn and everybody else has their turn simultaneously. You say what you want to do this turn, and then when everybody clicks ready, then it progresses one turn. It's all on a hex-based map and everything. So if you played Civ, you basically have an idea of what kind of game you're going to be getting. So, you know, it's the same kind of idea. But what sets it apart is the combat, or at least in the original one. What set it apart was the combat, because when you're playing a game like Civ, you have your units that are sitting on a block. I tell my units to sit, you know, go over and attack your units on that block. And it'll basically just do the math and figure out, you know, who would win this altercation or whatever. Or maybe it rolls a dice, but, you know, it'll somehow have some sort of automated altercation. In Endless Legends, what they did was they made it that when 2 armies fight, the game will actually turn into a turn-based strategy game, similar to what you might find in Final Fantasy Tactics, XCOM, or that sort of thing. So if you have other units, so you build it, instead of having just like all your, you know, a unit on a tile, you might actually have them accompanied by other units on other tiles nearby. And then, you know, it goes into a turn-based thing where I can move my units, you use your movements, and it's that kind of combat. You know, I say, okay, I want my archers to go stand on this ridge and they're shoot down and they're going to shoot at your cavalry, and I'm going to have my trebuchets, you know, launching into your infantry or whatever. So it does that sort of thing, which is really, really interesting. Now, this is good and bad. The good side is that it can actually be really, really fun. The downside is if you're playing with more than 2 people, if you're that third guy while the other 2 guys are fighting, you're kind of sitting around for a while waiting for them to get through their battle with not much to do. So, you know, it can be good, it can be bad. With 2 players, it can be really fun, and single player, it can be really fun. You get to 3 and it can still be fun. It can still be a lot of fun. But it can slow down for that third player if they're not directly engaged in battle at the time. Now, you can turn that off, and you can do it the traditional way that you would do in Civ, where it just automatically says, okay, these 2 armies fight. We just do a short animation. It figures out who the winner is. If you want to speed up combat, you can absolutely do that, which is great, because I love the fact that they're adding options. But that's basically how this game works. Now, the factions are very, very different. They're not like Civ, where everybody's basically the same, but you maybe have some specialized units or, you know, something like that. This is probably closer to Warcraft 3 or StarCraft, where each group is vastly different and has things that make them unique or special. Like you might have a cultist group that's really, really good at you know, corrupting people's minds, or you might have like an insects type group that, you know, kind of takes over the ground or soils the ground in such a way that if other people take your territory, it's harder for them to get benefits out of it. That sort of thing. So it can be very, very interesting. Now, this is based on, if you've played some of the other Endless games, this is the same universe. If you've played Endless Space or Dungeon of the Endless, this is the same universe. It's just set in a different time, I think way in the past, and it's only on a very specific planet. But actually, Endless Legends 2 is on a different planet than Endless Legend. So yeah, you're playing on a completely different planet. This planet has a new mechanic. It's called Tidefall. Occasionally, the tide is going to lower down, and so the waters will recede. And when that happens, it's going to open up land bridges, or it's going to open up new territory. So as you play through the game, the map's actually going to open up. The map's actually going to open up even more. And they said they wanted to do this because when, we play a game like Civ, the early game is all about exploration. But once you've kind of explored everything, that's kind of out. There's no real reason to explore anymore. You're just kind of like trying to build, if you get lucky and get a lot of territory early, that's great for you. If you're military, you can still take territory. But if you're trying to play a little more diplomatically, then, once that phase is over, that's it. You're not really going to be expanding your territory. So by having this Tidefall mechanic, new territory is going to open up occasionally, which means that you're going to want to explore throughout the game, or at least much further into the game than you normally would. So I think that's a really interesting idea. I don't know if, I'm kind of curious. Like in some games, you can get like kind of naval units. Is this going to make them entirely useless? Or are we just going to get rid of naval units altogether? And there's a potential that you could have two civilizations existing on two different islands that for a long time actually cannot interact with each other, but then eventually will have to. I'm kind of curious to see how this will work. So I'm really, really interested in seeing that. They are going to have 9 different win conditions. So there's a score condition. You get a certain score, you win. Domination, you just kill everybody. But they actually also have 7 narrative victories. So it's kind of like in Civ, I think there are certain kind of games like Civ, you would have certain goals that if you reach that goal, you win the game. Like if there's a space race goal, and whoever can get to space first, if you can get to space first, I don't remember which game it was, but there was like that, where once you reach a certain age or a certain point, then you can do that. So in this one, you have your different factions. They all have their own goals. Maybe a certain faction wants to summon a demon lord or something like that. And if you can manage to do it, then you win. So 7 narrative victories, which is really interesting, kind of shakes things up a bit. So that is basically all we have for Endless Legends 2 right now. Again, it comes out in early access on September 22nd. Not sure when the full game comes out, but check it out and let us know what you think.
Sounds like some really cool mechanics, and I like the difference. And you really describe like how Civ and Endless Legend are different, which I've totally forgotten, because I remember before number 1 came out, I'm like, oh cool, finally. I think I was playing Civ 5. What are we on? Civ 6.
The 7
one
I
of
think
the
recently
Civs
came out, right? Isn't that the one?
Yeah.
The most recent one?
I was playing one of the Civs at that point. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I can play Endless Legend afterwards, and I'm like, oh, this is a really fun game. And it is really, as you described, quite different in the fact that, as you said, Civs are kind of similar compared to like how Endless Legend works. Oh, my nose is all blocked up. I was a bit sick this weekend. I'm excited for this. As we sort of tend to say on this show recently, it's just like there's so much stuff coming out that it's I don't know if we'll only get to this sort of new stuff next year when it's old. More turn-based games, the better. Oh, I was going to ask you, Adam, as a sidetrack question, what do you think about the Ghost of 𝙬𝙧 person getting fired?
I don't think they should have said what they said. I think that's a very sensitive topic, and it probably wasn't appropriate. But I don't think they should have gotten fired for it. I mean, yeah, people are free to have their opinions and say things, even if they are in bad taste or in bad timing. But I don't think you should be fired for it. I don't think you should necessarily lose your job for it. It's not related to your job. It's completely separate.
Right.
If you are a teacher, I think it's a little bit different. Like if you're somebody like us, I think it's a little bit different because there is kind of a risk of like you're not doing your job, you're indoctrinating people in a sense, and I think that is kind of a more sensitive topic. But if you're like, yeah, if you're just a dev, like if you're a dev and you work at a company and you say something on your own personal account and it's not on the official, if I was like, okay, if I was like a what do you call it, a social media, what are they called now, the guys that work with that, if I'm saying it on the official company account, yeah, I get it, because then you're, you know, then it reflects on the company, and you know, might not necessarily be in the views of everybody. But if it's on your own personal account, no, like, no, don't. I don't think they should have got fired for that. I don't know if they maybe got fired for other reasons, and that just was bad timing. I don't know, but if that was the reason,
Very cool. Now I want to get your take, because I mean I've seen quite a few stories about this, and there's a website set up to sort of like for right-wing people, like, hey, this person said this thing about that dude, and so like someone from DC Comics got fired for the new Red Hood comic as well, which was unfortunate. But beyond that, back on track, I'm going to be talking about 007 First Light, which is really exciting. As I said in the intro today, we got some actual gameplay. Roughly, it's about a 30-minute video on the IO Interactive website. Go check that out if you have not done so. It's really awesome. But particularly for this video, I want to focus on like, how is this game different from a Hitman game or a Uncharted game? I think a lot of people are comparing that too. So I'm focusing specifically on like what's different. So Bond has 4 like categories of things that he can do. The first one is spycraft. So his toolkit, right, is for the quieter side of the job. He can eavesdrop on conversations for intelligence. He can lift a key card from a distracted guard, or piece together clues from environmental details others might overlook. Every bit of information you get can open a shortcut or give away around a challenge that you might not have another way to go around. So that's a really cool aspect of the game that, for someone, probably not me, because I like to be the bull in the china shop, for lack of a better expression. But like, if you do want to be stealthy, sometimes it pays to sort of hang around a room, walk around, talk to different people, see things, and like, okay, as I've absorbed all of this information, now I know how to overcome this puzzle, which is, again, I can't think of a game. I feel like some other games have done something very close to this, but I can't think of a game very specifically that has this sort of mechanic. The second thing in the new game is Bond's instinct, or Bond's natural aptitude in gameplay form, reflecting his quick thinking and adaptability. Instinct is a limited resource that will fill itself as you take down enemies, complete objectives, and perform other activities. You can use it to lure a guard toward you for a silent takedown, bluff your way past someone who's getting suspicious, or give you a bit more time to take the perfect shot during a firefight. It acts as like a bullet time mode almost, which again, really cool that it's not just bullet time. It's an ability or a bar that allows you to do a few different things. So it gives you more options to sort of engage in battles or engage in different things in different ways. Like I said, for those silent takedowns, to be able to bluff your way past a guard, really cool. Again, if you watched 007 movies for as long as I have, James Bond is a pretty smooth talker. All of the Bonds, I would say, maybe not all of the Bonds.
no, they're all pretty smooth talkers.
Okay.
That's pretty consistent.
And then, of course, gadgets. These devices from the Q branch are an essential part of your toolkit, giving you plenty of possibilities to tackle each situation you face. You might hack a camera system to clear a path, cut through a locked door with a laser, or distract a guard long enough to slip by. Again, cool stuff you know already, right? Cool gadgets, cool cars. Those are sort of the epitome of Bond movies. Combat. You can swap between gunplay and close-up rolls in tight spaces. One can throw an opponent over a railing, smash them against a wall, disarm them in one swift motion, or use the nearest object to incapacitate them. And then this is a system I really loved from the very first Jason Bourne game on Xbox, the original Xbox, way back in the day, almost 20 years ago, where it was really cool hands-on combat where you could use the environment to your advantage. And I've waited for more games to use that. So those are sort of the full core systems in the new 007 game. All really exciting, I think. In the actual trailer, they talk more about the story as well. I don't want to get too much into that. But you're going after Rogue Agent 009. You're going to go to several locations like England, Slovakia, and places like Vietnam. So it's cool. It's not only Western locations. You get to do, again, what a Bond movie might actually do. You'll meet famous people like Moneypenny, like M, like Q. You'll team up with Agent Charlotte Roth in London. You'll team up with DGSE, right, the French equivalent of MI6. So lots of cool stuff. I'm excited for this. I'll probably will get a chance. So next year, it's probably be on my list of games I want to cover for the channel. I'll probably even buy the $100 super expensive pass so I can play it early if they probably go that route. But yeah, check out 007. As I said, check it out watch the full video. Otherwise, make sure you wishlist it for next year.
Yeah, I'm watching the trailer and they're driving around the car and I'm like, at first I was like, oh, this is all pre-done, but then there's a part where the camera kind of pans to the side and the guy starts driving off the road and I'm like, oh no, somebody's actually playing this. Which is great. Yeah, no, I haven't played a game like this in a long time. It reminds me so much of Uncharted. Just that style of kind of the narrative driven game. It's kind of probably level based. It's not like super open. So yeah, I haven't played a game like this. I think the last one I played was the original Last of Us. Last time I played a game like but yeah, it looks good, I will say. And I'm kind of curious how much they paid to get the ability to actually write Jaguar across the back of the car. Because I'm sure they paid good money for that.
Or Jaguar paid them because Jaguar's been doing particularly bad this year selling cars.
Yeah. Somebody did it. Because actually, yeah, probably Jaguar paid them. Because it doesn't Bond usually drive an Audi? I might be wrong.
No, Bond usually drives an Aston Martin.
Aston Martin, that's it. I was like, okay, it starts with an A. Yeah, because I was like, that's not his normal car. So, yeah, maybe they paid good money to have their car put in it. And they're like, let's have Bond drive our car this time.
Exactly. I mean, as long as it's British, it would be fine.
Oh, I didn't realize Jaguar was British.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It might be. I don't know. I'm not a car guy.
I'm not a car guy either, but I also think you might be right because I feel like Jaguar was bought by someone else recently.
I mean,
and there's a Jaguar dealer in Kaohsiung, of course. Jaguar car.
This is important.
Oh yeah, it is still in the UK. Headquarters in the UK.
Okay.
So tell us the last story for today, sir.
All right. So my last story for today is Crimson Butterfly is the subtitle. Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. So this is going to be a remake of the original Fatal Frame 2, which some people say is the scariest Fatal Frame. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. It is coming to everything. PC, PS5, Xbox, and Switch. So no matter where you're playing, you are going to be able to play Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly, except maybe mobile. But I guess actually you could probably still play on mobile because doesn't Xbox have a way to play their games on mobile? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, this is a complete overhaul of the original game, similar to Silent Hill 2 Remake or some of the Resident Evil remakes, where same story, but, you know, completely from the ground up. You know, it's not just we're throwing on some new textures and cleaning up some things. No, we're creating all new models, we're creating all new cameras, we're creating, and by camera, I mean, you know, your ability to control the camera in game, as in where the player is looking. There is a camera mechanic in game. But yeah, so all that, you know, everything is redone from the ground up, new audio. They said there's going to be new gameplay systems and new controls. So I'm not quite sure what they mean by new gameplay systems. I don't know. I'm kind of curious what they mean by that, but that's what they said. They said new visuals, audios, gameplay systems, and which for me, gameplay systems would be controls. So this is obviously something else. Kind of curious. But anyway, forgive my camera pun, because one of the core mechanics of these games is the camera obscura mechanic. So the way that this works, this is kind of the game that really, I don't know if it was the first game that did it, might have been, but Fatal Frame really is what made famous this idea that, you know, you don't go in with a weapon, you don't go in with guns, you don't go in with knives, you go in with a camera. And when there is a ghost, you can capture that ghost on camera. So this is like, you know, a very old belief that the the camera, the photo, it captures an image, it captures the soul. So when a ghost comes at you, if you're walking around, it's invisible, you can't see it. You look through this camera, this is a magic camera. You can see the ghost in the camera. When you take a picture, it does damage to the ghost. But if you can capture it at just the right moment, you have to keep it in frame. If you can capture it at just the right moment as it attacks, then you get a fatal frame. And then, of course, you're able to basically instantly kill the ghost. So this is the way it works in this game. They said that you can know when there's a ghost around because you're going to have some filaments. Not quite sure what they meant by that, but they called it filaments. And they will glow when there's a ghost nearby. If it's a friendly ghost, it'll glow blue. If it's a antagonistic ghost, it'll glow red. So there are good ghosts that you can capture. It's kind of like a collectible in the game. So this is the same mechanics it's always been. They're also adding a new feature. They call it holding hands with 𝙂𝙢𝙢𝙢𝙦. I'm not quite sure what that means, but you're going to be able to feel. The idea is that they want you to feel a stronger bond between the sisters, because the story of this game is there are these twin sisters. Their names are Miyu and Mayo. Mio and Mayu. Got that backwards. Twin sisters named Mio and Mayu. They are visiting a forest. Mayu gets hurt, and then she sees this crimson butterfly. She follows it into this village where there are certain rituals that connect to the underworld, and these rituals are twin adjacent. So they have to do with twins, and you happen to be twins. I'm trying to avoid spoilers here, but that is why it is a problem that you have entered this village. So anyway, in the original game, sometimes you control one sister, sometimes you control the other. One of them has the camera. Sometimes they're together, and when they are together, the ghost can still go after the one without the camera, so you have to protect her. So now they have this new holding hands feature. So I'm not sure what that means. Maybe it just makes it that it's easier to move around, or maybe you get certain benefits when you're connected. I'm not quite sure. So I'm kind of curious. So this is going to be releasing in 2026, so there's still a ways off. But definitely looking forward to it. I've been wanting to play a Fatal Frame game for a long time. I almost played one. There's I think it's Fatal Frame. Is it Maiden? I can't remember off the top of my head. But it went on sale a couple years ago, and I'm like, I'm gonna pick that up. But I think that was the year I ended up playing Bloodborne. So but I have it on my wish list, so I always wait for it to go on sale. And it does usually around Halloween, but usually have something else for Halloween. But this year, Silent Hill. But next year, probably a great option for me for Halloween next year would be Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. Really looking forward to it. Yeah. And again, coming to everything. Check it out.
I was totally not expecting this, because when you said Fatal Frame, I knew what I was confused by. Fatal Fury.
Oh, Fatal Fury, the fighting game?
Yes. And when you said Fatal Frame, I mean, if you guys are watching this on the live stream, and lots of you do tune into the live stream, like after the point, I'm laughing because, like, Adam told me to, like, I have to ask Adam his story, so I know what to say at the intro. I mean, also I had to plan out like what videos we could win. And he said Fatal Frame, and in my brain was like Fatal Fury. I'm like, oh cool, Adam's talking about a fighting game. I'm like, okay. And we're trying to talk about RPGs. I mean, fighting games are kind of like role play-ish. Sure. And then he said Fatal Frame again as he's about to start, and I'm like, I should probably look this up just to be sure I know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, oh damn, this is totally not what it was.
No,
and
this is
I'm
not
like,
Fatal Fury. There is no Terry Bogard here.
And I'm like, Fatal Fury was such a cool game. I was so excited to talk about. I remember playing Fatal Fury in the arcades back in the day. But this is still cool. It reminds me of that game Phasmophobia that became really popular on Steam last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like similar mechanics, but sounds really cool. Not a game I'll ever play. Yeah, not a game I'll ever play. But I love the idea of capturing ghosts in a camera. I love the the good and the bad stuff. Like, I love the stuff he describes sounds like cool mechanics, and I as I've said on the show before, I like games with interesting mechanics, and this sounds like something, like, if you're into horror games or slightly scary games, something you should definitely put on your wish list.
Yeah, I think I remember if it was that game I played a few years ago, the Araya. I think was it Araya that had there were a couple. I think Dread Out had some phone mechanics in it. I think Araya is the one that I played that had some phone mechanics in it. A lot of these games have phone mechanics, not phone, sorry, camera mechanics. I mean, they were using their phone because it's more modern, but a lot of these games have camera mechanics. And there's even that one movie, remember what it's called. It's originally a Thai movie, and then they made an American version of it, but it's the same idea where they can use the camera and you can see the ghost. The girl's haunting the guy. Yeah. So this is a very old concept, but the Fatal Frame games I think are maybe not the first, maybe not the ones who pioneered it, but they're the ones who popularized it, which goes into our Reddit questions, which also Hades. When you were talking about how Hades kind of popularized roguelikes, didn't invent them, but popularized, also goes into our Reddit question. That's come up a couple times today, actually, already.
Unintentionally so, but like as you, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is true. And I this is the other question. Oh no, it is. It's the first question I actually loaded up. So we'll jump right into it. So Adam, Elden Ring saw Souls games go mainstream. What game did the same for other genres?
Yeah, so when people talk about a game that didn't invent a genre but popularized it, two immediately come to mind. And the first one is Final Fantasy VII, which RPGs obviously existed before Final Fantasy. It is the seventh game. But a lot of people say, you know, part of the reason Final Fantasy VII got so popular is because, you know, some people might even call it, you know, baby's first RPG. But yeah, a lot of people started playing RPGs after Final Fantasy VII. I mean, it was one of the early PlayStation RPGs. Before that, you know, you either had to have, you know, we had Ultima and tons of games on PC. And then you had some on the Super Nintendo. You had a few on the Sega Genesis. But with the PlayStation is when RPGs, that was kind of when RPGs, especially JRPGs, entered their golden era. And Final Fantasy VII was right at the beginning of that. So Final Fantasy VII, I think, really popularized, especially JRPGs. And then the other game I always think of is Halo, which shooters were huge before that. I mean, you have Doom, you have Wolfenstein, you have tons and tons of games on PC. But then when Halo came out, it was the first time that you really got a shooter popularized on consoles. They obviously exist. 007, GoldenEye was huge. But I think Halo really nailed it in that, you know, we could get shooters on consoles. And I think part of that was just the gameplay was great. I think part of that was the fact that, you know, if people wanted to play a LAN party, it took a lot of setup. But with the Xbox, you could get 4 players right out the gate, and chaining 2 Xboxes together to 8 players was super easy to do. So I think part of that was just the physical, how easy it was to set up a LAN party effect. But yeah, the two games that immediately come to mind are Final Fantasy VII for JRPGs and Halo for shooters.
100% agree with both. I think I've told this story on the show before. My first encounter with Final Fantasy VII was for my Zimbabwean roommate living in college in Massachusetts. And Final Fantasy VII came out back then. One of the Final Fantasies came out. And the dude literally skipped class, sat on his bed and played Final Fantasy VII all day and all night, and just ate meals, went to the bathroom, didn't even take a shower actually, until he finished the game. And it was just impressive. Like, I had never, I mean, the longest I ever played a game session was the original Command & Conquer in 1995. I played for 12 hours, almost 12 hours, to finish the campaign. And I was only allowed to do that because it was my birthday in my house. When it's your birthday, you don't have to follow the rules of the house. And since then, I've never beaten a 12-hour session ever since then. But Final Fantasy, easy answer. Halo, totally agree. Again, same time living in America, Xbox was out. People were crazy about Halo. And even since then, Halo's always been a franchise people have loved. And even up until like maybe a year ago where they did like that free-to-play, multiplayer-only Halo game. And people were like, oh my God, it's back, we're excited. And then Microsoft didn't really make the best use of it. So totally agree with it. All right, last question for today, sir. What are some life lessons you've learned from video games, if any?
So, yeah, it's kind of hard to say because my first immediate thought is, you know, it teaches me to hoard everything, right? You know, like, oh, you have this potion. Don't use, you know, like hold on to it. Don't throw it away. Don't sell it. You know, hold on to it in your inventory. And so, because you never know when you're going to need it later, right? So that was the first thing it taught me. Then it taught me, you know, don't hoard things. Use them when you need them, right? You know, like it's like how they say when they find people who've passed away in the desert, a lot of times they still have water in their canteen because the idea is they're rationing it, and because they're rationing it, they're like, oh, I always need to save a little bit more. So they ended up not using the last bit of it. So, you know, it's kind of like one of those things where, like, if you die and you have a health potion, that health potion is meaningless. You might as well not have had it. So, you know, use it. You know, when you have it, you need to use it. So it's taught me to do that. But of course, those are two conflicting things. You know, save everything, use everything immediately. You know, burn it immediately. So that kind of taught me that life is hypocritical in a sense. It's there are no one solution to any one problem. Sometimes the thing that makes perfect sense doesn't make perfect sense in a different situation, and vice versa. You know, something that doesn't make sense might actually work in a different situation. So in a sense, video game taught me that there are no answers in life. There are just answers for now.
I love that ending. That is so clippable. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I would say, if I think about this question, video games taught me, and again, this comes with a whole lot of my emotional baggage, that when I was growing up, I was one of the first few like brown kids to go into an all-white school, and video games taught me, like, hey, there's acceptance in different communities, in a sense, and that I was here living in South Africa using dial-up to use AOL Instant Messenger, MSN Messenger, talking to people in Pennsylvania and America, and different gaming communities and communities on Usenet, and playing games with different people. I remember my first clan, where I joined a clan of gamers. I played with a Scottish guy, and damn, that dude was hard to understand, but I slowly got used to it. And video games are so, like, disparate in terms of communities and stuff, and my life lesson is that, yeah, just because you're not accepted where you are or who you are and where you live doesn't mean you can't find acceptance in other ways, even if it's digitally playing a video game, which is still cool. Wonderful. So, sir, what are you playing this week? What are you streaming? I've seen the Meg is live stuff. I have not looked up what you've been streaming.
Yeah, I meant to stream yesterday. I didn't get to stream yesterday. The wife had to do a checkup at the hospital. Nothing big. It's just one of those, like, regular checkups. But she told me on Sunday night, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do this. And I'm like, oh, do you want me to go with you? And it was like, you want to? And I was like, all right, I'll be there for moral support. So kind of last second went with her to the hospital for moral support. And but I will be playing, I guess, 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦, because Silent Hill comes out, what, the 25th, which is in 9 days.
Next week.
Yeah.
Next week Wednesday. Next week Thursday.
Yeah.
Is it Thursday here, or is it Friday here for us?
I don't know. That's a good question. Either way, I guess I would start streaming that next Friday.
Okay.
So that leaves 3 days between then and now. So I guess I'll just keep streaming 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦 until then, and then when Silent Hill comes out, I will be done with 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦. I don't.
So you're gonna stream Silent Hill. You're not gonna keep it in the private Adam Gray's.
No. I think
area.
I'll stream it. I mean, yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what to stream. So I might as well just stream Silent Hill. I'll be playing it on my own time. So if you come in on a stream on one day and you come on a stream the next day, it's not going to be one continuous thoroughfare of story like it is with 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙦, where I pretty much only play on stream.
Right.
It will be, you'll be getting snippets as I go through, but yeah, I'm pretty sure, because I don't even know what else I would stream. Yeah, there's no updates to Besieged. There's no D on it. There's no updates to Besiege. I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV quite a bit recently on my own time. My friends and I have been playing Void Crew. And
how do you like it? I played yesterday with my brother. We made it finally to the boss of the first stage, and we died.
We made it to the first boss. We died. It was like this big sun thing, like a star.
Because it's different. Ours was like a purple thing that had had monsters that would. Oh, you did the fire stuff. So we did it sucks your energy, and we couldn't pass it on Sunday.
We did that one too. Yeah, the fire.
Did you pass the one that sucks the energy out of your ship?
And we didn't pass any bosses. We just
Oh,
got to the
okay. Oh, that's
bosses.
good. No, no, now I'm like, okay, I don't feel
No,
so bad after all.
we didn't pass it. We probably got closest with the fire one. But that was like our first run, so we were not really sure.
That's
what we were doing.
impressive for your, because this was our third time playing. We've actually got to a boss.
Well, we had 4 people, and we've been playing Wildgate, so we kind of had.
I've got the practicing as well.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean the gameplay is very different, but we had that idea of, you know, like this guy's the pilot, this guy's on guns, this guy, you know, like, if we're playing Wildgate, you know, like we have either myself or this other guy will be the pilot every time, and then my other friend, he's usually the gunner, and then we have another friend who's usually running around putting out fires or a gunner. I'm usually either a pilot or I'm trying to do boarding action or I'm a gunner. So I'm kind of the jack of all trades guy. So when we got to Wildgate, you know, we had, okay, this guy, we knew who was going to be the engineer, we knew who was going to be the gunner, and we knew who was going to be the pilot. So then I was the only one left. So it's like, oh, I'll be the scavenger, which is kind of the jack of all trades guy. So we kind of already had our roles set. And we already had our kind of, you know, communication style down. So we knew like, hey, you know, come here, I need this, I need. So we kind of already had all that down. But we got to the boss and we were like, we don't know. And then we got to the second time we played, we got to that boss that drains energy, but we had gone into the jump and we were in bad shape. And we were like, okay, when we jump out, we're going to immediately patch and then we're going to jump into the fight. But when we got out, the fight immediately started. So we never had time to patch.
We were lucky. Like we had the same plan. I think we were at 54% hull and we jumped into the boss fight. And I'm like, my brother was like, get out there, do your EVA stuff, repair the ship. And we managed to get up to 85% before we jumped into the fight. But we hit like in that particular boss, I had to look at it on Reddit. Like if you go too far away from the boss, you run too far away, you start to take damage automatically. And that's how we died. So you have to stay within a certain area, and we totally. But it's so fun. I love it a lot.
Yeah. I jumped out of the ship. The mechanic jumped out of the ship, and then immediately some of the smaller enemies moved over and started attacking. So the pilot tried to maneuver away, but then the two of us are like now not on the ship, and we're far away, and we're like trying to get back to the ship, and he's like trying to get back to us, and it blew up on the way.
Yeah, I actually realized I need to change classes because my older brother is the gunner, my younger brother is the pilot, and I went with engineering because we first started off on that really big ship. Now I think I realized you need to do so much EVA stuff. I don't want to go with the scavenger because it seems like it's more useful than a mechanic.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't played that much. I mean, the mechanic can do repairs.
Because he's got
faster.
that repair functionality, and then I'm like, yeah, but like inside the ship, you're just repairing superficial stuff.
Yeah, and well, even on outside on a small repair, it's just like usually like left up, and then it's like, okay, that took me almost no time. I didn't know that special thing for that. Especially if you've been playing Helldivers a lot. If you've been playing a lot of Helldivers and you're constantly doing the codes for the stratagems, yeah, you come into this and you're like, oh, this is like maybe Helldivers. This is only 3 instead of 9. You know,
oh
so
man,
it's like, oh, that's at that time. So
Grand Bazaar has the same scheme for fishing, and it's like there's a high level fish where you have to put in 14 different arrows, and if you like lose your concentration, my concentration is super bad. I can't catch the freaking fish because I make one mistake and then it speeds up. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I don't know if Helldivers was the first one to do that mechanic, but it's a genius way to do it.
It's a really cool, and it's fun. I love that as well.
It's a great way for like any kind of like hack. So every now and then you'll see a mechanic and it's like, this mechanic is genius. Like for instance, if you go back and play like the older Elder Scrolls, like Oblivion, and they had the little tapping thing for the lockpick, and it's like, this is kind of tedious.
Yes.
But then you got into Fallout, and they had the thing where you had to find the positioning and then try that, and I was like, this feels so good. This is my favorite lockpicking mechanic, and I have never and I mean now they do it. You know, they did it for Skyrim, so I mean now it's kind of like, you know, it's just like a basic mechanic. But I'm like, this is to date, this is my favorite lockpicking mechanic because this one feels the most kind of intuitive and realistic in a sense, you know. So yeah, occasionally you'll hit a mechanic like that, and like this one with the up, down, and left, right, and try to matching it, it feels like hacking in a way. Obviously it's not, but it really you have that sense of time. You know, like there's a time pressure, there's the there's the focus. It really, it's a really good mechanic, and I think it lends itself to a lot.
Indeed. And on that very sidetrack note, thank you guys for tuning in. Apologies for starting late. You know, Adam and I like to talk about different things, and I'm about to be unemployed in about 45 days, so you might see me stream.
By choice.
I'll have to talk. By choice, yes, by choice. I should also mention that because I resigned last week. By choice, you know, I'm lucky that I live in Taiwan, and so cost of living is low, but you might be seeing, not Mike, you definitely will be seeing me streaming, and I'll have to talk to Adam about when he streams, when I want to stream, and how that's all going to work as well. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, starting in November, I will be more available streaming, maybe making more videos. We'll see. And it kind of sort of works out because Adam will be in America at that time. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and then we will see you same time next week.
Later.